And now, What's My Line? Brought to you by Stop at Spray Deodorant. Poof, there goes perspiration. Poof Deodorant Body Powder, the body powder you spray. The Nest Shampoo, the new flowing cream shampoo. All in the first truly functional cosmetic containers, far easier to use. All created by Dr. Jules Montagnier, the famous cosmetic chemist. Time now to enjoy What's My Line?
And now, let's meet our award-winning What's My Line panel. First, the popular columnist whose voice of Broadway appears in the New York Journal-American and papers coast to coast, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
On my left, a charming and brilliant young humorist who has his own television show 5 nights a week, Monday through Friday, Steve Allen.
Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you very much. And on my left, one of the lovely ladies of radio and television, Miss Arlene Francis.
Thank you. And on my left, the distinguished publisher of Random House and the columnist of This Week magazine, Mr. Bennett, Cerf.
Thank you. And on my left is a famous moderator who's got his toughest audience to face tonight because his sons, John Neal and John Charles, are sitting out in the audience tonight. Johannes Charles Daly.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What's My Line. Once again tonight, we've got some people who've been extraordinarily kind because we are having a heat wave in New York, and still they came to visit us and brought with them some very interesting occupations which we trust the panel will have difficulty with, and they then will carry home prizes. We'll also have a famous guest challenger before the experts a bit later on, but right now it's time for the experts to meet our first challenger whose job has to be spotted. So will you sign in, please, ma'am? Mildred Gilmore, is that right? Is it Miss or Mrs.?
Miss.
Mrs.?
Miss.
Miss. Miss Gilmore, where are you from?
Los Angeles, California.
Los Angeles, California. Well, for a long time I've been saying you've had a long journey and I have a short one for you, but I think people are getting tired of that. So I will just say, why don't you go down and meet the panel, please?
Shake hands, Miss Gilmore. Solid. Low.
All right, Mrs. Gilmore. You come over here now and sit down next to me, please. I think perhaps you may know that at this point, on the basis of your brief meeting with the panel, we give them one free guess as to what your line may be, and we always begin the free guesses with Miss Kilgallen.
I think she's a veterinarian.
A veterinarian, Mr. Allen.
I think she might be connected with the Gilmore oil interests on the West Coast.
Miss Francis.
I think she's a stand-in in the picture industry.
Mr. Cerf.
I think she writes sob stories for Los Angeles Times.
No, I'm afraid nobody has it. We'll let our viewers have a further look at Mrs. Gilmore, and at the same time, we'll tell them what her line is. All right, Mrs. Gilmore, I think the rules of simplicity itself. Every time you can dredge a no answer out of my friends on the panel, it will cost the panel $5. We'll keep a record of all this up here. 10 of these no's, and you have won the game. All right, Mrs. Gilmore is self-employed. With that, let's begin the general questioning with Bennett Cerf.
It's Miss Gilmore, isn't it?
That is
He
correct.
says Miss Gilmore.
No, Miss.
Miss. Well, I'm getting very mixed up. Miss Gilmore, I'm sorry.
Miss Gilmore, is there any product involved in what you do?
No.
That makes it 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Then your specialty is services, Miss Gilmore.
That is correct.
Do you purvey your services to men?
Yes.
Could women benefit by them, too?
Yes.
Do you deal with people directly rather than just on the telephone or by mail?
Yes.
I'd say both.
Both.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you work in an enclosure?
Yes.
Is yours a useful rather than luxurious occupation?
Yes.
Yes, I'd say it's considered useful by a lot of people.
Is it something that you could engage without being terribly rich?
Yes.
That's good to hear.
Is this something that benefits or gives pleasure to the people who use your service?
Yes.
I think it's only fair to say sometimes it does, and sometimes it might not, wouldn't you say?
Well, that's...
Well, do they engage Miss Gilmore's services hoping or in the fond belief that it will give them pleasure or benefit them in some way.
Yes.
Yes, I would say they hope for something or the other.
Do you
like that.
usually deal with adults?
Usually.
Do people ever come to you in pairs?
Yes.
Wonder what it'd be like riding a peach. Well, tough night.
Well, I mean, could people avail themselves of Miss Gilmore's services in a dual capacity?
Yes.
Does whatever it is go on all the time indoors?
No.
Does it go on all the time indoors? What?
Well, I mean, whatever it is that she does to or with these people, is that
Well, you mean,
always done
Is it restricted entirely, the
indoors?
performance of these services restricted entirely to
the way
indoors?
she does it? I don't mean the way somebody else might do it.
No, I think Mrs. Gilmore sometimes does it outside, too. That's 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Allen.
Do your services have any effect upon the health of the people who come to you?
That's a tough one, isn't it? We'll have to have a small conference.
No.
Since we have to assume that the human mechanism is so delicate that it can be affected by any change of either atmosphere or situation, we don't feel that we can with any validity hold that this directly would cause any deleterious situation with regard to health. That makes it
Here.
7. Miss Brent.
Does detecting have anything to do with Miss Gilmore's job?
Yes, it does.
Then sometimes people are surprised by seeing you if they get to see you.
Yes.
Are you in any manner a private detective of any kind?
Yes.
You are a private.
Well, Miss Gilmore, I'm sorry. I keep wanting to call you Mrs. Gilmore, but you must forgive me. I'm a little bit hot tonight.
Well, that's disgusting.
I'm sorry we didn't make it rougher than this one.
Is Miss Gilmore any relation to Mike Hammer?
No.
No relation to Mike Hammer. I'm sorry that isn't a bigger prize, but we do hope you had lots of fun. Nice to have you with us. Good night. All right, panel, a very good beginning. Let's see if you can keep up this splendid record tonight. Would you sign in, please, miss? Nancy, very nice firm hand. Very. Nancy Branner, is it? I assume because of your young and blooming good looks that it was Miss, was I right?
That's right.
Miss Branner, where are you from?
Chestertown, New York.
Chestertown, New York? Well, would you go over and meet some more New Yorkers, please? The panel would like to know you a little better.
Yeah, nice firm hand. Hi.
This is the friendly
All right.
form.
Miss Branner, would you come over here and sit down next to me, please? And right now, the panel gets one free guess as to what your line may be. The free guesses always begin with Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
I think she's a swimming instructor.
A swimming instructor, Mr. Allen.
I think Miss Branna models dresses for Miss Gilmore.
Miss Francis.
I think Miss Branna is a Scrabble teacher.
A Scrabble, Mr.
Like to
Cerf.
learn some, too.
I think she works for the International Paper Company.
No, I'm afraid not. We'll let our viewers have a further look at Miss Branner. At the same time, we'll tell them what her line is, but the panel has worked. Miss Branner, you know, no answer. We flip a card every time you get a no answer. We flip it 10 times, you're in. You've cleaned out. All right, Miss Branner is salaried. With that, let's begin the general questioning with Steve Allen.
Miss Branna, do you deal in services of any kind?
Yes.
To ask a by now classic question here, might I be the type of person to enjoy your services?
Yes.
Is there any chance also any product connected with your work?
Yes.
If I were to use this product, would it at any time come into contact with any part of my body?
Yes.
Is that part of my anatomy visible to you from where you sit?
Yes.
You mean everybody can see it? Let me see. Let's start at the top. Could this product ever be used, say, by a man with unruly hair?
Yes.
have used this product tonight before I came to the theater?
Yes.
Possible?
Does this product ever have a relatively pleasant aroma?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I will say this. I want to be perfectly fair, as is true in all these cases. Sometimes, aromas affect people one way, and other people are affected other ways. But I, for one, think that it, on occasion, has a pleasant aroma.
Good for you, then. To get back to your services, Miss Brenna, might it be part of them, say, to do something like to rub this product in your client's hair or something like that?
No.
One down and 9 to go, Miss Francis.
Is this product anything that might be purchased in a drugstore? No.
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Miss Reiner, you say you perform some service for people. Are you performing the service when you use this product that's involved?
Yes.
Do you apply this product to the person of the people that you're working on?
You mean rub it in?
No, not necessarily rub it in, but use it in connection with the people.
Never mind. That makes it 3 down and 7 to go. What's going on? Apply means to lay on. That makes it 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
To get back to Steve, because he seemed to have his finger on the pulse of this, would you say that it isn't necessary for him to rub this on any part of his person to use it?
Yes.
He doesn't have to rub it on.
Could he, in an emergency, use this product himself?
Yes.
Yes.
He wouldn't necessarily have to have you around, although I'm sure he'd like to.
I'm sorry, I'm not...
It wouldn't be necessary to have Miss Branna around for Steve to have used this product before he came to the program.
No.
Be nice, though.
When this product is used, does it have a direct effect on something?
Sometimes.
I would say that it has an effect.
Well, is it
cause
intended to... oh, excuse me.
It's sort of cause and result. There's always a reaction, and there's a reaction here. Something's dry and you put water on it, now it's wet. But, that's all.
Is it intended to have a definite reaction? Is that why you use it?
It's a very interesting question. We'll have a small conference, please.
Yes.
It is our considered judgment that it is supposed to have a reaction, yes.
Is it used, and I'm not using the word applied, above the neck, ever?
Is it used above the neck?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Under certain circumstances. Is it used indoors?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it usually used under more special conditions than just Steve dressing for the program?
Is it ever used under more special conditions than Steve just dressing for the program? On that specific phrasing, I'm going to give you a no, Mr. Arthur. You may
it isn't just a part of a man getting ready to go to dinner or anything like that.
Well, actually, it can be a very normal, everyday act. So we'll give you a no on that. 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Allen.
Since it's above the neck and the scalp was way off, could it possibly be the mouth?
Yes.
Is there something you put into the mouth?
Yes.
Can one swallow it?
Yes.
You purvey a juice of some kind, is that it? You deal in some kind of booze? I might use the word deal on the air. I mean, it's... Do you?
Yes.
You're a booze dealer. Is it an alcoholic beverage that you,
Yes.
What do I have to do? Offer you one, or...
You have to guess what Miss Bennett has to do with the aforementioned beverage.
She sells it?
No. Well,
In a way, but you've got to be more specific.
She's a barmaid?
Bartender, barmaid. I guess that's it. Miss Bennett, I had a lot of fun. As you see, I can hardly talk. Thanks very much for being our guest. We certainly hope you had lots of fun. It was nice to have you on What's My Line. Good night. Now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery celebrity. My friends on the panel would recognize our guest on sight, as you are probably going to. So we provided them with blindfolds. Are those blindfolds all in place, panel?
Yes, John.
Yes.
Good. Will you please come in, mystery challenger, and sign on, please? All right, panel, as you know, in the case of our mystery challenger, we dispense with all of the usual preliminaries, get right down to the general questioning, which we will begin with Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
Are you accustomed to appearing before audiences?
Yes.
Are you in some form of show business?
Yes.
Are you, or have you ever been on the stage?
Yes.
Have you ever appeared in a motion picture?
Yes.
And have you been on television programs, too?
Yes.
Do you consider yourself a performer?
Pardon?
Are you a performer?
Yes.
Are you an actress?
It's a matter of opinion.
Yes, Miss Kilgallen.
Are you more an actress than some other type of performer like dancer or singer or tuba player?
Yes.
Have you done dramatic roles?
Yes.
Are you in a motion picture currently playing on Broadway?
Not at the moment.
Ooh, that's one down and 9 to go, Mr.
I'm
Allen.
so sorry.
Are you in a motion picture that may be seen soon?
No.
Two down and 8 to go, Miss Francis.
On television, maybe.
May I assume this isn't your normal voice?
You may.
Thank you. Have you appeared in one of these mediums that were mentioned by Miss Kilgallen more than the others?
No.
Small conference.
I'm walking behind you.
Correction. Yes.
Correction. Is that medium the picture business?
Yes.
But you have appeared on the stage on Broadway?
Yes.
Have you appeared in the theater in the last 5 years?
Yes.
And are you appearing in television at the moment, currently?
Yes.
Do you have a program of your own on television?
Yes.
Is it a comedy program?
It's a matter of opinion.
Well, John, would you
Yes,
know if it's funny or not?
Yes, it really comes under the general category of comedy.
And were you in the theater before you went to pictures?
Yes.
I'll take a stab at this. Are you by any chance Eve Arden?
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Well, when you played on Broadway, were your roles predominantly comic roles?
No.
4 down, 6 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Did you ever appear in a musical comedy or review?
Yes.
Did you sing and do sketches?
Yes.
Did you ever appear in nightclubs or supper clubs here in New York?
No.
5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Allen.
Are you a blonde? At least now?
Dear loyal boy, yes.
You have a program on television. It's a comedy show. Are you by any chance Ann Sothern?
Yes! Actually, when Arlene raised the issue of comedy, I didn't quite know whether to say no on the grounds that it's really dramatic show. It's not a comedy show in sense
Oh,
of
yes.
variety, but we felt it was fairer to say it was.
Southern Pacific.
Well, Miss Southern, I must say it's awfully nice to have you all the way from Hollywood and now television.
John, I must say, you're as pretty in person as you are on television, too.
Well, I haven't been called pretty in a long time.
Oh, John, everyone adores this show of your folks. Just
Oh, well,
adores it.
thanks.
Really, we all love it so much.
Well, may we return the compliment.
Thank
It's barely possible we may be competition one to the other one of these days, but we couldn't be up against nicer competition.
Thank you,
Thanks
John.
so
It's
much
been
for
so
being
much
our
fun
guest
to
on
be
What's
here.
My
Thank
Line.
you.
Nice to see you. All right, panel. We have very little time left, actually just enough time, I think, to give you a chance to get tied up. So let's see what you can do with another challenger. Would you sign in, please, sir? James Dennybaum. Is that right, sir? Where are you from?
Schenectady, New York.
Schenectady, New York. We're getting ready to make mincemeat of the panel. Go over and meet them first, will you?
Nice.
I'm going to just look at it.
Please, there's no time for tea, Miss Kilgallen. Mr. Dennybaum, will you come over here and sit down next to me? I think probably you know that at this point, because the panel has had a chance to meet you, to see your handwriting, hear your voice, feel the grip of your hand, look at your necktie, and sundry other matters, we give them one free guess as to what your line may be, and Miss Kilgallen always has the first free guess.
I think he's president of a small parts company.
Mr. Allen.
I think he's vice president of a big parts company.
Miss Bradley.
I think he's someplace in the fight racket.
Mr. Cerf.
I think he makes those great big bottles for champagne, you know, Dennybaums.
Oh!
No, I'm afraid not. We'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Mr. Dennybaum. At the same time, we will tell them what his line is, but panel, you've got to dig, and it's going to be tough digging, I think. All right, sir, I'll flip these back here. You know the rules. Every time you get a no answer, we flip a card. 10 no's, $50, you've won the game. All right, Mr. Dennybaum is salaried. With that, let's begin the general questioning with Miss Francis.
Mr. Dennybaum, do you work outside at all in your job?
Yes.
Do you wear any kind of a uniform over the regular clothes that you wear or instead of?
Yes.
Do you use your hands in your job?
Yes.
Do you have anything to do, do you work primarily on land?
Yes.
Would one say that you might work for a public maintenance of some kind?
No.
No, I wouldn't think it was a public maintenance of some kind.
You're
You're
sure,
talking
John?
now specifically of utility companies
Yes,
and that
I
sort of
am.
thing.
I
Yeah,
must admit.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Dennybaum, I must get something out of the way because in Schenectady, almost everybody that I know works for General Electric. Does your work have anything to do with the General Electric company?
No.
That makes it 2 down and 8 to go, and we have about 1 minute and 40 seconds to go. Miss Kilgallen.
Do you get a chance to talk to people in what you do?
Yes.
Do you ever have to inspect or pass anything?
Yes.
Do you do this inspecting and passing out of doors?
Yes.
Does it deal with people or things rather than animals?
Yes.
Do you have anything to do with motor vehicles?
Yes.
Do you have something to do with people and driving and automobiles and that general area?
No, I wouldn't think so. 3 down and 7 to go, and Mr. Allen and I would like to explain to our viewers at home that we made a mistake in telling them exactly what Mr. Dennybaum does, so they've got surprises coming to them, too. 3 down, 7 to go, Mr. Allen.
Do you have anything to do even remotely with keeping the peace?
Remotely to do with keeping the peace? By an extension of a rather broad nature, we could say he had something remotely to do with keeping the peace, yes.
Do you work for the state of New York?
No.
That makes it 4 down and 6 to go, and we have time for about 5 more questions.
Would you consider yourself a foreman of your job in any way so that there are people under you?
Yes.
Do you have anything to do with digging of any kind with a machine, or do the people under you have anything to do
No.
with tractor work or anything?
5 down and 5 to go, and I think our time is up, and we have to flip the cards by default because time has elapsed. Actually, what Mr. Dennebaum does is a most wonderfully interesting job. He's a test driver for Army tanks.
Wowee-woo.
When we told the people about it, we said trucks, but it's actually Army tanks that he tests, and you get the full price, sir, by default. Thanks for being our guest. It was nice to have you on What's My Line. Good night. And in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give you a preview look at one of our guests, whose line our panel is going to be asked to try and identify on next week.
Good night, Dorothy. Good night, boys, and good night, Arlene.
Thanks, Loads. Good night, Bennett.
Good night. If you think you'd like to be a panelist, it's about 120 degrees in these lights, isn't it, John? Good night, John.
That it is. And good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with us on What's My Line.
Whether you're a mom or a ma'am or a grandma they call Grammy, this Mother's Day, make it a whammy.
Can you hear me now?
Watch the Press Your Luck Mother's Day Whammy-thon. 7 straight hours of free spins and big wins.
It's like a family reunion.
Hosted by every mother's favorite son, Todd Newton.
We'll be waiting for you.
Make it a whammy of a Mother's Day. Watch the Press Your Luck Mother's Day Whammy-thon Sunday, May 11th, starting at 9/8 Central on GSN.